Welcome back, everybody, to episode 5 of 357 Sex in the City podcast. We're super excited today. I'm joined with Ty and Luke, of course, as always. Today, we're going to talk about Grindr, dating apps, how it affected 357, their bottom line, and what they did to compete with Grindr and the dating apps. We're going to talk about fetishes, parties that happened at 357, things like foam party, buddies nights, towel free, etc. We are also going to take stories from the book. We have some really good stories for you today. So stay tuned, stay hooked. We'll be back in just a second with episode 5. Grindr, dating apps. These came into our lives quite a few years ago now. Maybe some of you listening have no idea of a life before dating apps, but we certainly do remember it. How did this change the life at 357?
Yeah, that's a very interesting point you just made. I'm sure a lot of clients wouldn't even believe that there was life before Grindr and the internet. Grindr was a big thing, Luke, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was massive. I remember the first time.
2009, would that be correct?
It was, no, a little bit later, maybe 2010 or something, just past that. But we were in a coffee shop and with Min Chuan, remember?
Oh, yes,
and the guy that was serving us was showing us this new app on his phone where he could actually, date people. And I thought, oh, my God, that's going to just devastate our business overnight. I thought we'd be gone.
And Min Chuan was very young, so he sat down with us. He goes, boys, I'm really worried about this.
Correct.
He goes, for free, people are going to be able to hook up and meet each other and get exactly what they want. They're just going to swipe until they find what they want. They won't need to come to a sauna at all.
Owning a sex club would actually be irrelevant, really.
And I tell you, for about 6 months to a year, Luke and I thought that the business was going to end over the next few years.
Yeah.
We both actually believe that.
Yeah, because we'd been operating for about 10 years at that stage, and we were just sort of plugging along and things were growing great. Don't get me wrong. We were doing great numbers and everything else, but I thought that was it. I thought that was the nail in the coffin.
Far from it.
Yeah. But we reacted quite quickly because we thought we had to do something to fix it and to bring clients back into us. So we introduced parties basically every day of the week.
Because the numbers did drop off, didn't they, for a little while?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, people were meeting online. About 18 months after that meeting, our numbers were quite down, and we thought that something was wrong. Yeah, we knew it was Grindr.
Yeah, so that's what we started to think outside the box to bring people in. We weren't just offering a venue to have sex in. We had to actually instigate a party of some description to bring people in. So that's how we started to hit against Grindr. And for all the straight people out there that don't know what Grindr is, which I don't think there would be many of you that don't know what it is, Tinder and Bumble and all those other dating apps are basically exactly the same, but Grindr is basically for the gay population. So that's
with a very distinct loop.
Yeah, blip, 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 blip. Everybody knows it. Like you're sitting on the train, you hear it, blip, blip. You go, oh, someone's on Grindr.
Which reminds me of an Instagram thing I saw where the lady taxi driver, the guy's phone goes off and she goes, oh, my husband plays that game.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
And yes, so they were, but back then Grindr was the first one. Did you think that it was the same as the websites? There was Friday.com.
Yeah, and Manhunt and Silver Daddies and all that. But
that
it was a bit
just
different.
No, that was just always ho-hummy, but this was taking it to a totally different level.
The app was in your pocket.
But it was instant as well. Like those other online things like Silver Daddies or whatever, you had to sort of email them and then you'd get a response back. So there was a delay in time. This was instant. If you were horny,
that's what works.
You wanted to have sex, you turned it on and you could be in Dubbo and turn on your application and you could find somebody inside that area.
Being GPS based is what made it so different.
Correct.
Yes, the location.
Yeah,
location. That was the key, and it terrified me. It absolutely terrified me. I went, oh my God, people can be sitting anywhere in Tempe, in Dubbo, like Luke said, in Perth, whatever. They just turn on their phone and there's 10 people to choose from just like that. And if you can host, great. Yeah.
And the funny thing is that I remember seeing people in the locker room on Grindr
all the time.
I'm here, and people would say, "Me too."
Yeah.
Okay, and
we'll catch up on level 3.
Look to your right. There they are sitting next to the locker.
Correct.
That's funny.
And before we talk about the parties, but what really I think is also was a major thing is that coming into that decade, people couldn't host because everyone lived with other people. Either they live with their family, they live with friends, so it wasn't easy for them to host. And that was where it would fall down, because they still had to come to the sauna and meet. It's a safe place to meet.
Exactly what you said there, Ty, a safe space.
Yes.
Going to somebody's apartment, somebody's house,
Terrifying.
or meeting somewhere outside was always a risk.
Yeah.
So you could meet up at 357, a safe space, and if things went pear-shaped, you could always have the staff of 357 to help you or to guide you.
Yeah.
I think that's important for everybody.
And you could also run away if you didn't like that person.
Find somebody else.
That was very fun, watching the people check each other out at reception while they were checking in, because obviously they'd organised to meet at 357.
Correct.
And then they'd go, oh my God, this isn't what I hoped for. So they just get dressed and disappear. That was the end of it.
Yeah.
But also Grindr's profile, like you could have your photos on it. You could say exactly what you wanted.
Yep.
It was like ordering food through Uber Eats. You say exactly what you're after, exactly what you're into. And it was a very scary time. I have to say, it was a very scary time.
So for the people, obviously none of you can see what Luke's wearing today, but he's wearing a shirt that says Power Top. so you could have put that on your profile, and then you go getting a power top.
Yeah, that's right.
That's great. So to paint the picture here for everyone, not just Luke has got his Power Top t-shirt on, but Ty has got the 357 staff crew t-shirt on. And on your way here through to Kingsgrove, which is where we're recording today, you said you had a few few people who looked at you a bit differently and went, oh, the guy from 357. Is that right?
We've been closed 2 years in May, and yet these three numbers still mean an awful lot to a lot of people.
That's lovely.
Which was very, very nice. So we got, people swinging back on their heels looking at us. We got the gay couple got on the train and started gossiping and looking back at us and smiling.
Maybe it was my t-shirt.
Maybe it was.
Maybe it was.
That's great. So let's swing back into the Grindr days when you were sitting there thinking, what are we going to do? So this affected your business. You had to put your business cap on.
Yep.
What did you do? What was the thought process as you went, okay, we need to compete with this? And what brought you to what you mentioned earlier on, the parties and the events?
Yeah. Well, I think we sort of looked at attacking it on a day-to-day basis. Saturday nights were not doing too well from Grindr, and I thought, and at that stage, there was a sauna, Kens of Kensington, and they did towel free on a Sunday afternoon. Do you remember that?
Yeah, that's correct. They did.
So we thought, let's introduce towel free on a Saturday night because we weren't busy, and that really helped us. So if anybody's listening that's never been to a towel free event at 357, we had the whole of level 3, which was 250 squares, and when you walk through the doors, the whole thing was naked. It was a naked party. So you'd walk in, you put your towel on a hook, and the whole floor was naked.
And everybody had to be naked.
Everybody.
That was the key.
Yep.
But if you didn't want to be naked, we were very lucky because we had 3 other floors where people could just hang around in towels.
Yeah.
And that's why we were so successful at that party, because we enforced the towel-free period, so people weren't all walking around holding towels over their dicks so that you couldn't see them, or around their necks. So we made sure everybody hung their towel up. They were all naked on level 3, but if you didn't want to be naked, the rest of the venue ran like normal.
Do you remember when we first started, we were hosting them, us two.
Oh, yeah, Luke, I hate that.
And our clients would come up to us, and we were in our 357 T-shirts and shorts, and the clients come up and said, it's not fair for you to be here and, be fully dressed. So we kept our 357 shirts on. So we stripped off. So we were also naked from the waist down.
Right. You would have loved that, Luke.
Yeah. Well, that's right. Yeah. I was not. Yeah. But I thought that's very true. So we had to stand there. Remember that?
I only did half a shift like that. I put my underpants back on. I couldn't do it. Just couldn't do it.
But anyway, yeah. So that was the early days of towel free.
And that was so successful that we then decided to do it on our bread and butter was lunchtime, Monday to Friday.
Yeah.
10 a.m. to 2 p.m. We were very, very busy. We were a daytime sauna, not a nighttime sauna. So we decided then to try it out at Wednesday midday, and that was the biggest decision we've probably ever made.
A monster, yeah. So, a lot of guys would come down from the CBD. They'd be working in the offices and just pop down for some sex.
So all our clients would remember this. We would be quiet on a Wednesday lunch if we had 250 people in.
Yeah.
And it'd become a super legendary day where everybody knew that if they came into 357 on a Wednesday, they would have all the fun they wanted and all the different people to choose from. So that was a very big, successful day. And generally we do 300 people every Wednesday lunch, which was incredible.
300 people.
Every time, without fail.
This wasn't during the Grindr days. Like the entry of Grindr, towards the end of 357, we were doing 3,000 men a week. So, but back when Grindr first started, we were really struggling, and we thought we have to do something to compete against this online sex. So that's
what was the difference in numbers? So towards the end, 3,000 a week.
We're doing 3,000 a week.
But when the Grindr days came in, what was the difference?
Our volume dropped by at least half.
We were doing about 15 to 1800.
It was really quite scary. You could just see the numbers getting worse and worse and worse. Every single week would pass. So Ty was very good at the numbers. I wasn't. I was sort of looking at the monthly numbers, not the daily numbers, but you knew that, this was really affecting our business.
For those of you who were wondering here with these numbers, these are astronomical numbers. So you can imagine a space like 357 with 300 people in it.
Yeah.
And I remember hanging out with Ty and having lunch, and he would receive an SMS and he would immediately drop everything he was doing.
Daytime numbers.
And he was at the daytime numbers.
Yeah.
He would say, we did 280 or we did 300. It's a record, etc.
Yeah.
It was very interesting to see that, yes, sex on premises, but the business was very much about numbers, about people paying at the door and being able to survive. So you had those difficult times. Let's get back into these events. I want to continue with that. So Towel Free, 300 people on a Wednesday afternoon, Wednesday lunchtime, and you also had Towel Free on another day.
Saturday night.
Was it as popular?
Yeah, it was. It was, because we started on Saturday nights and then we went to Wednesdays. It was massive. Towel Free was massive. And
then we went to Foam on Sunday.
Okay, so Foam. Talk to me about Foam parties.
We would fill up the steam room with suds.
We'd turn off the steam room and then get it all out, get it ready, and then we would turn on a foam machine.
Yeah, we fill it all up, so up to your neck in suds. And we would barrier it at the door, and we'd have stairs going up and down into the steam room, which was our foam room on a Sunday afternoon. And that became our second legendary day.
Yeah.
And every Sunday we had queues going down the stairs. So never ever ended. We're always maximum capacity for the whole of Sunday afternoon.
And for the people that don't understand what foam is like, it's basically, say the room space was probably about 80 square meters. And basically it was filled from floor to neck height of foam, and it was quite dark. It was actually quite dimly lit in there, especially when the foam heated up. And what actually happened, that sort of blocked out the light a bit.
It was very sexy.
But it's like being covered in oil. So you're slippery like a pig, greased like a pig or whatever they call it. So it was quite incredible, all those people stuck in one little room.
And the best thing was you could look, say you look to your left, look totally away from the person that you're interested in, but your hand goes to the right under the foam, and you can touch that person. They've got no idea that you're touching.
Yeah.
They're looking around going, who's touching me?
Yeah.
And then I go, are you okay? He goes, yes, mate, sorry. Like this, because it might have been someone I was curious about. Yeah. It was very, very sexy. So everyone had a little bit of fun in there.
Very, very sexy.
And then we'd
party.
have 15 minutes lights out. So it turned into like a black room of foam.
Yeah.
We played great music, and we always put on more staff so that it was really overstaffed. And because we had to keep the floors
clean. And we never charged for the parties either, because what was happening with Grindr, we thought, well, we can't charge them. We've already charged at the door. Some other venues were sort of charging for different events and parties. We just decided not to go down that avenue.
And also remember at lunchtime on Wednesday, they were all coming in for $20.
Correct. Well, we had a lunchtime rate.
It was a lunchtime special. So people who couldn't afford to come in on the weekend could still come into those crowds for $20, which was amazing.
Yeah, for sex in the city, it's pretty amazing for $20.
You mentioned a queue. Talk to us. Because he said there was a queue down to the door. So can you explain?
Every single Sunday without fail.
And I was so scared because of our building. Nobody really knows this, but I was really scared that staircase that took you up to the entry would collapse, because it was a wooden staircase and the building wasn't in great shape. And I thought, because we had termites in the building as well. That's another story. But we had termites in that column, remember?
Yes, I do.
And I thought, oh my gosh, this staircase could collapse.
And I'd run up and down the stairs the whole time giving
with water.
We never once, I hope anyone that's listened to this never missed out on lollies or water. We gave that out. And I used to hand out bottles of bottled water. I go straight from the spa and everybody would laugh. And then I'd say, let's turn the lights off and we can all begin here. And everyone would go, no, thanks, I'll wait. And all that sort of thing. Like we had a lot of jokes and we were trying to keep everyone occupied in the queues.
But it was a big draw card. Foam was massive draw card.
It was a massive draw card, yeah.
And the reason for those queues is because you had a maximum capacity within the building, right?
Yes.
So that was 300
we
people.
did. And no, it was a little less than that. But when I say that, that's a turnover of. So like 50, because a lot of people, particularly at lunch, they only had an hour.
Yep.
So they'd come in and they'd go.
And that's what we called the blows and goes. They were just in and out.
But we'd never,
20 minutes.
I would say to every client, I would guarantee them that there would always be a minimum of 200 people.
Yeah.
But we did 300 people, but those 100 people would come and go over that last hour.
But strangely, on that note, it's probably a segue conversation, but I found more sex happened when it was quieter than when it was packed like that.
Very true.
And the reason for it is because people are walking around. There's 200 men inside a venue. You think, and somebody walks past you and you think, oh, wow, they're hot. They're a sort of like 8 out of 10. Oh, no, I'll wait for a 10 out of 10. And when it's less busy, you were less picky. So you would take a 7.
Maybe I met you on a night like that.
Thanks, Ty. Thank you. But
so the queues would go from the so you weren't able to let people in because you were at capacity.
That's correct.
So people would wait.
We didn't have the lockers. We just didn't have the lockers.
You didn't have enough lockers. Yep. Okay.
That was it.
So at the entrance there where you paid, people would be queuing down the staircase, down to the
foyer.
Which goes down to the foyer, and then there was a door out onto the street.
Correct.
Sussex Street.
Yes, and many times they queued down Sussex Street.
And then they're queuing outside.
Yes. Yeah. Just went outside.
And yes, on hot days, Ty, you mentioned you would bring water and some lollies.
I always would, yeah. The only time the queue was longer, obviously, was Mardi Gras, or like all those busy events. Then we'd open up the garage and we get them to queue down the garage, across the garage, out the garage, and it was massive. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So
do you remember? Sorry, I have to tell you something because I'll forget. There was a shop downstairs, which was there for years. The Chinese shop,
the restaurant,
the noodle bar. And I had a guy in the queue, and he was wearing stirrups,
a cup,
a little
over
cup,
his penis,
and he looked something like me. He was 60 or 70 years old.
Nothing else,
nothing else but a pair of boots. And they're standing at the front, and my phone rang, and it was the restaurant, and he goes, "Strange man out front of shop, please remove." Like this.
So he was so angry at us.
He was really angry. So I went out the front, and I saw him. I went, "Oh my gosh!" and I went, "Oh, hello, sir." I said, "Congratulations, you're the 50th person in the queue, and you get a free entry."
So we bypassed him.
So I bypassed him. He goes, "Oh my God, that's fabulous!" So I got him upstairs, and I gave him a free entry. So
that is a great story.
Happy.
Yeah, I just remember that.
Just on the foam party, we did have a problem with that once.
Okay.
Remember, we wanted to run the bubble gum. Foam is a solution that we make.
Oh my God, Luke, that's right.
It's like soap suds, incredibly oily soap suds. Anyway, there was this, remember they sold us this bubblegum flavour.
And it was very expensive. Remember, little mate, you can have pina colada, you can have bubblegum. We had all these different flavours. I thought, what a novelty, how exciting.
How incredible.
And also how nice, because the foam was just foam, but this way it smelled like something, you know?
Yeah. Anyway, so it was blue, and it was like really, really vivid blue. Do you remember? And I thought, this looks weird. Anyway, so we pumped it in because we used to make it in the office and pump it in through the ceiling into the machine, and then it would come out of inside the steam room.
It was quite a big production.
It was a big production. Yeah. Anyway, you tell the story. What happened?
Oh my gosh, that's the first time I felt.
Do you remember that? That was a disaster.
And it was a super disaster. Everyone was stained blue.
Like they all looked like Smurfs.
All their dicks, all their asses, everything was blue.
From head to toe, from neck to toe.
Everyone was queuing in the showers trying to scrub themselves, getting friends to scrub themselves.
It was like blue dye.
It was like dye. And this guy comes over and goes, "I'm married. I've got to go home to my wife with a blue penis." And I went, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry."
And nothing would take it off.
It was horrendous.
So I don't know what happened with it. We never did it again. We only did it once.
We took it all. It was thousands of bucks worth of stuff. We threw it all away.
Yeah.
I was furious.
Yeah, they all looked like Smurfs running through the building.
And the clients were really, really angry with us as well. So that wasn't a good day for three of us.
And faces as well?
Everywhere, because a lot of them went under the foam to get blowjobs or whatever, but they're all covered in dye. It was awful.
But even their teeth, like their hair, like anybody that had facial hair, everything was blue. Everything was blue.
Like, what excuse could they possibly given their boyfriends or their wives or whoever when they went home? Like, that's just awful.
Papa Smurf, where have you you been?
Oh my gosh.
That is a great story. If you were one of those people who ended up,
we do apologize.
We really do. Honestly, we had no idea, and we were wrong. We should have tried that out before we put it out.
Well, we just thought we'd add it to the solution.
But I thought and the guy goes, just put it in the diet. You don't have to do anything else. There's no. So we really didn't know, but we should have tried it out, Luke.
Yeah, that wasn't a good day.
That was a really bad day. Yeah.
It does sound strange that the people who sold that to you, because a foam party is for people to go in with their bodies, right?
So normally with clothes.
I was
with
so
clothes.
angry.
That's right. That's not naked, but
Yeah.
mostly it's always clothes driven.
If you were one of those people who ended up blue that day, get in touch with us.
Yeah,
We'd love to have you on.
How did you ever get it off, or are you still blue?
Or what was the excuse when you got home?
That's right.
I did speak to some clients the following week, who didn't come in on a foam party. They came in on something else.
Yeah.
One guy said it took him 3 days to get it
Wow.
out. Yeah, 3 days until it sort of washed off.
So get in touch with us if this was you. You'll get all our contact details in the show notes. So that was foam. Any other crazy stories about foam?
No, that's about
No, that's
I
it.
think that was the one
that was a standout for me.
I know that you improved it over the years. At the beginning, when you started, it was quite a difficult thing to set up.
Yeah.
It was hugely
And-
difficult. Yeah.
You had to hook up the foam machine up at the top.
Because it used to hang from the ceiling, and then we put it on a tripod and we'd wheel it in. And
But
over the years, we got it streamlined.
The relaxing thing was that if it did ever break, which was very rare, because we don't charge extra for the parties, we didn't have to go through that, where you get your money back as you're here for a foam party.
Yeah.
Because we never charge any more money for it. It was always the same price.
But all the parties we did, every single party, we never charged for.
But I think generally, only once or twice in 10 years or 12 years did the machine blow up or something.
Yeah.
The pump, but we got a spare pump, then we got a spare, we had a spare of everything.
Yeah.
So we could basically fix everything up. Yeah.
Excellent. So that covers foam party. What other parties did you have?
Well, we do on Monday night we had buddies, which was just 2 for 1. Tuesday we had our trans events.
And that was trans actually trans on Tuesdays. Tuesday used to be the worst day of the week for us. And I think it's like that for most businesses like restaurants and cafes and anybody.
Even KFC.
Even in hospitality, people struggle on a Tuesday. And I had wanted to do this for a while, but I had wanted to put into Trans Tuesdays and invite trans into the venue because there's a massive market for that. And they were sort of being excluded from a lot of different avenues. And I thought it was wrong. And we actually had a staff member that was transitioning through that and going through that process.
She sort of walked us through.
And she helped us a lot.
Yeah.
And I remember I was meeting a friend for a beer and it was up at King Cellars and I was just sitting in the window. She wasn't actually working on this particular day. It was her day off and I saw her just walking into the chemist to get some stuff and she was fully dressed as her alias. And I thought, we have to look after her and we have to look after that community. So that's how Trans Tuesday started. So we opened
because you saw her being herself.
Yeah.
And it changed things for us that day.
Yeah, it did. Because when she used to come to work, we expected her to get dressed as a male and to derobe herself. And I thought that was wrong.
Because
I actually thought that was wrong.
I never wanted to have a lady and I never wanted anyone who presented as a lady to be at the counter of a male sauna.
Yeah.
Please remember, everyone that's listening, I'm 63 and Luke is 56.
It's a generational thing.
So it is a generational thing. It took us a long time to get our heads around that. And that was just something that...
But seeing her walk in on her day off and like observing her from the outside and she didn't know that I was there watching... I thought, we've got to do something here. So that's
and we were very close. We're all very close.
Oh, yeah. And she was a really
special
staff member.
So
really, really special.
We decided, we called her into the office and we go, look, we've decided
we want to do Trans Tuesdays. Can you help us do that?
Yeah, you can work as who you are.
Yeah.
And that was a very emotional day for her and for us. And very difficult.
And we never asked her
and
again.
From a business point of view, I was very worried about it.
Yeah.
I was. So.
And none of the clients mattered. Like one of the biggest saunas.
We never really got a complaint.
No, well, one of the biggest gay saunas in the world was in Babylon, in Thailand, and the
trans staff were everywhere.
There was trans staff everywhere, and I thought, why are we having such an issue with this issue in Australia?
Well, it was our generation, Lou.
Yeah, I know.
And also, to me, sauna was sex for men. It wasn't,
and we were catering. We were worried about how our male clientele would take to that. but they took to it like duck to
water. And it's
water.
very simple for the client that didn't want it. And today in Sauna X, it's the same. They have
Absolutely.
Their trans event is now massive.
Much bigger than what we ever did.
They did 65 6 women last week.
Yeah.
65, that's a record.
Yeah.
We never did that. We did 5.
No.
You know, and then 5 trans. So like we were very, we were very quiet at the beginning. But you've got to remember that from our generation it was different, and now
I totally
now
agree.
it's getting more and more acceptable and more wonderful, and we're very happy for that.
Yeah.
So, but that was just so don't be hard on us for having a different opinion because we're older, but our hard work made that okay for you guys to do what you want to do now. Everybody really.
But also there's a lot of people that are into trans as well. Like when we're talking about fetishes and stuff like that, like we had a number of staff members that were straight, but they would only have sex with a trans. Like they would have sex with women or trans men. Mm-hmm. And, that's their fetish. That was their fetish. They had to be done. Like one of our staff actually did very well dressed as a trans to have sex with straight guys. And that was, how he actually got them.
Yes.
He would get dressed up and, he started with a he. And then he went to a she to pick up the men. So, that's a fetish, that and that's fine.
And
if that's
what
if
everyone
that's
has
what
to
floats your boats, it's great.
You also have to understand, like I had someone come to the counter once, very masculine guy, looked like me, right? And he goes, "Hello, I used to be a woman." He goes, I present as a man, but I have a vagina. And I just went, okay. And he goes, "Do you think it's okay for me to come in?" And I just looked at him and I went, "You present as a man, it's fine." Like, but I had to get my head around that as well. Like, it's very difficult at my age. Like for the younger people, they're all growing up with this and they get it all, right? But for us, it was very difficult to catch up, I suppose, like catching up with technology.
Yes, it is.
It was the same for us, you know? And in the end, I got so confused, I just let everyone in because I just couldn't work it out.
Because really in our generation, it was either straight or gay.
Yes.
It's now there's all different colours in the spectrum, and that's great. And I think that's really important.
Do you remember that I didn't know whether it was a trans relating. She goes, "I want to come in." And I said, "Look, I'm sorry, we have a no breasts policy."
Oh, yeah.
Like this. And she leant right forward and she goes, "Then why do you work here?" Because I'm quite overweight. And I said, "Well, mine are hairy." Yeah. I couldn't think of anything else to say.
Yeah.
And all those interactions got unfriendly, and I didn't want any of that negativity. And that's why we decided to see what would happen.
But the Trans Tuesday opened our minds a lot to that whole world.
And commercially, it was a success, so we were happy with that.
And then we got another trans staff member, and she joined us after COVID, actually.
And we didn't employ her because she was trans.
No, she got the job because she was amazing.
And she was amazing, totally
amazing staff member, probably, one of the best we had. And, we grew as people, and we grew sexually as well. And we're talking about sex, and we opened up our mind to sex as well on that whole world because it wasn't part of our world.
And it's a mixed night.
Totally.
So it was not just trans. It was
ladies and trans would get in for free.
Yes. And the evening was different. So you didn't have to be in a towel on that night.
Yeah. You could be fully dressed, and the only exception was you couldn't have high heels. There was no shoes because of the staircases and the dangerous sections of the venue. We just asked for no shoes. You could wear whatever you wanted, dresses or whatever. But remember, we had a number of clients that was straight, as gay as they would come, but they'd pop on a wig to get a free entry to come in. We said, "Sorry, mate, you're not a trans." So, do you remember?
And I also want to point out this is.
And I'm saying,
they used to make me. They used to make me very angry. They go to the $2 shop and come back with a pink wig, with fully dressed as a man, and go, "Can I get in as well?" I said, "There's nothing trans about you."
Didn't you recognize me?
Oh, I thought it was you. But I also want everyone to know that we had a exclusion from Mark Speakman, from the Attorney General.
Yeah.
And this was legal, so nobody could sue us, because we were a men's venue. In the same way, there's gymnasiums that are,
and ladies' gyms and all that stuff.
There's many businesses that do have, actually there's not that many businesses, but some do have these exclusions.
Yeah.
And we were one of the very rare sex venues where we could actually say, this is a men's venue. This space was built for men. It is a men's venue.
Yeah.
And I was very proud of that. So to go to this was such a huge step
And also
for
we
us.
changed the porn as well, because we were playing, obviously gay porn
Yep.
during the week. And then we looked at, we have to actually start getting some trans porn. So it was a growth for us as well because obviously we had to change.
We grew as a business, but we grew as people.
But we also grew as, incredibly.
And for that last 12 months, having 2 trans staff,
they helped us immensely.
Yeah,
immensely.
they really did, yeah.
How lovely that you grew your business by growing the type of people who could come in by saying yes.
And there's one shout out that I'd like to do to Ileana. So we really miss you a lot.
Yeah. If you're listening from France, she's gone back to France.
Yeah, she's was working her life out as a trans, and she's so happy.
Yeah,
and
really special.
And she taught us a lot too. Yeah. So,
well, Ileana, I'm sure you're listening. Again, if you are listening, get in touch with us. Let's get you on this podcast and get your view of what those nights was like and what it was like to work at 357. So I think we didn't speak about the blackouts. Blackouts was another party.
Blackout was Friday nights.
Friday nights, yeah.
That was the black room was so popular, so we decided to expand on that.
The whole floor.
So the whole
level
floor,
3.
even the monitors, all the porn monitors,
everything.
All the lights inside the rooms, everything. You just walk around in the dark. So like, imagine 250 squares of dark space to walk around.
That was very popular as well.
Yeah, that was
very
popular.
That was
popular. Not like foam or tower free,
but it was a popular event. It was a popular event.
And Thursday we never did anything because this is unbelievable as a business, but our complaints were you're too busy and I can't relax. There's nowhere to relax at 357. Even level 4 is too busy, blah, blah, blah. So we decided from a Thursday commercially to recommend that day for the people that want to come in and not have it packed out. So we never tried to push the numbers on a Thursday. We just left it the way it was.
But also, as I said before, like everybody sort of said, oh, when's it busy? When's it busy? Because they're thinking that all this it was happening. Don't get me wrong. Sex was happening. But more sex happened when it was a touch on the quiet side because there was less competition and people would be less choosy. So
by the time we'd sorted out all the parties, Grindr was kind of just what it was.
We skated through it. We skated through Grindr.
We skated through the tough part and then we realised that it wasn't really going to make any difference to our business.
No.
And it just didn't because people just hadn't nowhere to meet.
Yeah. And then it comes back to that avenue as well.
And the old photos and the people turning up at someone's house and going, oh my God, there's no chemistry, there's no connection. Even though you thought there was in the photos, when you actually saw that person, there wasn't anything there. Yeah. It's so instant at the sauna. You see each other, you look at each other, you go into a room, you have fun. There's no stuffing around. It doesn't take hours and hours and hours of chat to meet somebody. Yeah. It just isn't, it's just not instant enough.
Correct. But I also remember with Grindr, we reached out to them to advertise because they used to have banners on there, and I thought, what a great way. We'll advertise through Grindr for the sauna. Anyway, remember they said, oh, sorry, we don't want to be associated with a sex club because it's not a sex app.
And they really did say that.
Really?
Yeah,
oh my gosh. Really I said, okay, not a problem. So I opened up a profile and I just had the numbers 357. I didn't have anything. I just said phone party tonight or whatever. So I did that for about 18 months. I was running everywhere, like turning on the app. So people would go, oh,
attracting people through the app.
Yeah.
Right.
He'd be standing in front of the phone party going, hi, my name is Luke or something like that.
No, I never said my name or anything.
Oh, no, you never did.
No, I just had 357's phone party today. But they kicked me off.
Right.
Because they said you're advertising your business. So they kicked me off. So I've got a lifetime ban on Grindr. So.
That's right. So if the guy from Grindr who started that comes to 357, you can give him a lifetime ban.
And of course it was American then. It was all owned by Americans. Before it was sold to China.
I'm just going to come back to the blackout party.
Yeah.
You spoke very briefly about this, but I want to get our listeners to understand a little bit more what a blackout party. So this still with a towel, and is it totally dark? How do you get around in a blackout?
It's pretty dark.
It was pretty dark.
You could still make each other out and you could walk, like you could make out where you have to walk, but not much
And there was
else.
the emergency lighting that we had to leave.
So the place was only lit up by the emergency lighting.
Yeah, so that's all you could really see. But you could hear people walk in because some of those rooms, some of the walls up there were perspex, and you'd hear them walk into a wall and the whole thing would just wobble. Do you remember that? The perspex walls would wobble. You'd hear them walk into it.
Do you remember that man? He came down, he was an elderly gentleman, and he screamed at me, he goes, that place is a public liability nightmare. He goes, even trying to get out of the floor, I ran into walls.
couldn't find the exit door.
It's really funny.
Because the door was also shut to the floor as well. And
do you remember our blind client who screamed at everyone? He goes, now you all know what I feel like. He was talking to everyone. He's very funny. So
that covers all the parties. There was the buddies night on Mondays, trans night on Tuesdays, towel free on Wednesdays and Saturdays. We had the blackout on Fridays and foam party on Sundays, together with
entertainment
on level 4.
Yeah.
What an incredible party house. That sounds absolutely amazing. For those people who missed out, well, sad, but you can get a bit of this flavor from Sauna X.
Yeah,
can't
Sauna
you?
X is doing most of those. They're not doing foam at the moment, but they've tried it and they're getting it ready. So they're doing all the parties.
They bought
as
a
well.
fabulous new machine too and retired our old one, rusty one. Our poor machine.
no blue.
I think they set it all up and it just fell apart in the rust.
Yeah.
So, that was it.
So if you're listening to this and you're
Head on
wondering,
up to
maybe you've
Sauna X.
Yeah, Sauna X, which is up on Taylor Square.
That's a good point. The parties have carried over. That's
Carried
exactly
over.
right. Yeah, they have.
Very popular. And also, if you're somebody who's never been to a sauna and you're wondering, oh, I'm listening to this sounds fun.
Yeah.
And it is. And it's safe. Head down to Sauna X. Have
And
a
once
chat
again,
with the
like
boys.
if it's your fetish, like if you're into blackouts or you're into naked parties or whatever, head on up to Sauna X.
And there's a key to this. Other venues have tried it and it's never worked because they never enforced it.
Yeah, we were really strict.
We were very strict with that.
Yeah, very strict.
We had a guy
Even
who
me
was
standing there with my dick out.
we had a guy who worked as an air steward and he
was amazing.
He was amazing. He had a really loud voice. He was a really tiny guy and he'd just go, off or out.
Yeah,
that
was towel free. You couldn't walk around with your
just
towel
holding in front of me. No, holding in front of your dick.
Off or out.
Off or out. That's
You'd
all
hear him from
to
down on level 1.
And it was a little bit fierce.
No, but he was very good.
They just took advantage of us if we didn't do that. So
yeah,
so
he was brilliant. He was brilliant.
Everyone was naked on that floor, and that's the key to these naked parties. Not just by saying, we've got a naked party and they're not worrying about it.
Or any party.
And having the rest of the place where you can go, because I wasn't comfortable naked.
Yeah, but you could use the other parts.
Be an alternative. So that was. I just wanted to point that out. Yeah.
At what point did you realize we've done this, we've beaten Grindr, or we're now competing? Was there a moment there that you realized this is okay now?
I don't really remember.
It took a couple of years until we ironed out the parties, I think, and then Grindr was always in the background thinking, okay, we've got to get up today. We've got to think of something to do that's going to help our business and help our clients as well.
So Grindr really did kind of help us a lot.
It did sort of boost us into like the second, it took about 5 years, I reckon. It was 5 years, 4 or 5 years worth of business.
Yeah.
Yeah, where we got up every day to do it.
And now there feels like there's a bit of a downward turn with these apps. People are, from my perspective, what I feel is that people don't trust them anymore.
Yes.
Or not as much. So
the danger element as well, by going into strange people's homes and you don't know whether they're going to tie you up or hit you or keep you or kidnap you or whatever.
And we've all heard those stories of bashings, which are very sad, which is good for saunas because you have that safety, right?
Correct. And you have that. I remember when we were running the business and there was a brutal attack. I think he passed away actually.
It was at King's Cross.
It was up at King's Cross,
Yeah,
and he'd organised a catch up from Grindr and they turned up and they actually killed him, which was a really incredible story.
And then, of course, all the bashings, they meet at a park and then you go to meet at the park and there's kids waiting in the bushes and they'll bash you up. And
so there is a place still for saunas, I believe.
So safe.
Yeah, and like you can catch up with somebody on Grindr or Tinder or any of those applications, but say, hey, let's meet at 357. It's a safe space. If there's a problem, the staff will come to my rescue. So, and that's still existing up at Sauna X. So, reaching out to anybody out there that's doing that, if you're any way, shape or form worried about it, go catch up on the application, but go to a safe space such as Sauna X or, one of the other venues.
As promised, every episode we are bringing you stories from the book.
The book.
That book is here in front of us, and Ty and Luke have picked a story each. We're going to start with Ty. What is your story from the book?
We'll do mine first because it's pretty quick. I had a guy come down to the counter and his eye was hugely open. And
the eyelid and the bottom of the eye.
So he was
all the skin around the eye.
He was screaming at me that he'd had something sprayed in his eye. He was in terrible pain. He was American. He was on holidays in the States.
Yep. I'm going to sue you. I'm going to sue you.
That's right. He was going actually crazy. So I said, look, what happened? He goes, I bent down. I was looking through a glory hole.
And if anybody doesn't know what a glory hole is, it's the hole where your penis comes through and you give oral sex. So it's like you don't know who's on the top. It's just this big hole.
Go back to episode 1 and listen because we talk about it and we explain it in detail.
So anyway, he's watching through the glory hole and this guy...
Waiting for a penis.
So this guy's has his penis and he sprays it, but it must have been sprayed with an erection cream or some sort of a spray. I still don't know what it was sprayed with, but whatever it was, it went straight into his eye and he couldn't blink and he couldn't close his eye. Right? He was screaming at me and he goes, "Do you understand I'm going to sue you?" And I said,
"I can't blink."
And he goes, "I can't blink. I can't close my eyes. I could be scarred for the rest of my life." And I said, "What part of this is my fault?" And I said, "You getting on your hands and knees and looking through a hole and getting sprayed by someone in another area." I said, "How is that possibly my fault?" And I said, "Can you imagine taking it to court?" I said, they're going to look at you like you're a fool. Anyway, he just kept screaming, "I'm going to sue you." And he just stormed out and I never knew what happened to him. And that was it. And I said, "Can I bathe your eye with something?" He goes, "Don't touch me." And he just left. So I've always remembered him. That's another one that I remember. I didn't have to look at the book. I remember that one.
Yeah, so if you're listening, I hope your eye went back to normal.
Yes, that's
right.
And
the rest of your life, it wasn't sort of, you were unable to blink from that one eye.
But I've still got no idea what was sprayed in your eye. But in any case, that's what happened. So,
So glory holes, don't look through it too closely.
Yeah, don't be a bit aware, I think. Be aware when you're looking through a glory hole.
And I went first because your story is a touch longer.
Yeah, well, my story is about a staff member, actually. We had a staff member and let's call him Rex, okay, for the podcast. Anyway, Rex, Ty interviewed him and...
We probably had a couple of Rexes in 23 years.
Probably
did.
To
be careful.
No, yeah, I think we did. Yeah. Anyway, so Rex come to work for us. He was actually straight, but he did dabble from time to time with very feminine, like men. Anyway, or trans. He was into that type of sex. Anyway, and he did say he'll never have sex at the venue because whenever he has sex, he said this in the interview, that he falls asleep.
He goes, "As soon as I come, I fall asleep.
As soon as I come, I fall asleep." And a lot of men do that. Like a lot of men, it's a great thing and you sort of relax afterwards. Anyway, we were in bed. It was very late at night, probably 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. Anyway, Ty's phone rings. Ty's friend was at the venue.
Who was a friend of one of our staff.
Remember? Yeah, he was a friend of a friend. And he said, something is happening at the venue. The doors are all open and people are just walking in and out of the venue. Anyway, so we get up. You come in.
We check the cameras. We check the phone.
Yeah, there was nobody in the office.
No one in the
office. So you were at home.
We were at home. We were home
sleeping.
Asleep. It was 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning.
10 minutes drive away.
We were just down the road at that stage.
It was nearly 4 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, was it that late?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, whatever it was. Anyway, we jump in the car, go to work, get to the venue. All the doors are open.
We were there in minutes.
All the doors are open. The entry door, the exit door. They had propped it open with towels. People were just walking in, walking out, fully clothed. Like it was unbelievable. Couldn't find the staff member. Could not find him. Anyway, it was a graveyard shift. So if anybody understands graveyard, it's sort of midnight to dawn. He was working and it was a quiet shift. So it was on his own. So he's working in the venue
So
alone.
he's alone working the whole venue on his own. Yep. Okay.
Totally alone. Anyway, we get the master key to the cubicles. We're going through 4 floors, can't find him. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, he's actually hurt himself. That was my first initial thing.
Because the graveyard is a very quiet shift.
But it's a very important shift because you're...
And the second staff member would leave at 1 or 2 in the morning.
That's
so
right.
he'd only be alone for those 4 hours from 2 till 6 because we shut.
Yeah.
The lights come on at 5:40 and then everyone gets out and there'd be like maybe 15 people inside or 10 people.
Anyway, so I get on to level 3 because I'm thinking he's hurt himself. Anyway, I can hear somebody snoring in one of the cubicles. Anyway, so I have the master key, open him up, and here he is, dick's out. Lo and behold, he's sound asleep. He's just had some sex and fallen asleep and left the venue totally unmanned. Anyway, so we had to let Rex go.
Yes.
That was Rex's last shift.
That was a bad night.
That wasn't a good night for us. No, that was not a good
night.
Yeah.
So the people who were trying to exit the venue couldn't exit because there was nobody at the door to let them out.
So they went out the emergency door, came back up, opened up the other door for the other
people.
Yeah, and then everyone had access to the office. Not to the office.
Not to the office. That was a fully enclosed, fully barricaded.
Your emergency exits, you could go out the emergency exit.
Correct.
Yeah,
they were not manned. Nothing was manned. Nothing
that was a fire exit, so you could never ever do anything.
Like, can you imagine if we had a fire or there was emergency, like a true emergency?
Waiting at reception, no one was there, and they'd say, "Oh my God, that door's open," because the fire door was opposite the reception door.
Remember, we had the emergency glass.
Oh, they broke the glass too to try to get out.
They smashed the glass.
And they opened the door,
and they opened up one of the other doors.
That's right. I forgot that.
So not only did we have to fix that, we also had to, get rid of a staff member, which was very unpleasant.
What was Rex's What did he say when you woke him up?
Sorry, mate.
And
I said, just put your dick away.
And then he just goes, I guess I lost my job. And I went, yes, mate, you have. Get your stuff, get out.
Clean out your locker, you're off.
So he really did fall asleep after.
But circling back on that,
sex.
Sex for us with the staff, we always had the opinion you can have sex before or after your shift, just never during. And there was two reasons for it. It took, like even if you're working and you're supposed to be cleaning upstairs or whatever, what it did, if you had sex with another client, it took the client out of the pool for selection for the other clients that were paying to have sex with.
And imagine how you'd feel like you've paid $30 to come in.
Yes.
And you see a staff member just dressed up in his...
somebody that you've been looking at or trying to get, and then they go off into a room. It's not fair.
Right.
Because a paying customer should have first bite at the cherry, literally. And that's why we always had a really strict policy. You could have sex before or after, just never during.
That was a sackable offence.
Sackable. And we did that quite often, not just for recs. We sacked a lot of staff over that.
I know
we warned them.
Just human, but you have to, you say to the client, I can have sex at 6 p.m. I can have sex at midnight.
Staff could never have it during. And do you remember we had two staff? This is another segue. We had two staff. We knew they were having sex with each other. This is on a very busy shift, but we could never find them, right? And they used to go into the lift, catch the lift up and stop it in between two floors, have sex. And we were running around the venue, not looking in the lift, but they were having sex inside the lift. And when they'd finished, they'd just unstop the lift and move on.
Do you remember? And I thought one of them was in one of the rooms. And I stood out in front of the room. I waited for 15 minutes. The door opened up. And I went, damn it. And as I turned around, that staff member was standing behind me. He goes, you thought I was having sex in there, didn't you? And I go, I know you're having sex. I'm going to find where you are. Like this.
If we found them, that instant dismissal.
So no, we never sacked them. They told us where they were having
at the
sex.
end, after they resigned.
Yeah, after they resigned, he goes,
one went to the America, States and one went back to New Zealand.
Yeah, and then he goes, look, we've always had sex in the lift. You bastard.
Yeah, we could never find you. We could never find you.
So over it.
Yeah.
That was two staff members having sex with each other. Not with a customer.
Not with a customer.
I could see the day that one of those staff members met that they were hot for each other. The second they met each other. And it never ended, really.
No, the whole time they were together.
That is an incredible story. We've got more than what we bargained for today on this podcast. We've got more stories than what we thought we would. That's excellent. And the reason why you didn't allow your staff to have sex with customers during their shift, that is surprising. And I've known you for over 15 years now. I never knew that.
And it also looked tacky too. Like I think it looked really bad, It
looks unprofessional. Yeah. And even though, this is a bathhouse, it was funny, it was gay, it was open.
Just didn't
but we ran it really, really professionally. And in the same way that the staff were never allowed to have sex with the other staff. Yeah. During shifts and stuff.
You could say like, I'm finishing my shift in an hour. Can you wait? And a lot of the clients would wait.
And as managers and owners, we never had sex with the staff. It was very important for us.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that was just for us. Yeah.
Thank you, Ty. Thank you, Luke.
Thank you, Richard.
An amazing episode 5. I think we've done really well on this episode. Don't you think?
Yeah, we loved that one. That was, I think, my favorite one.
Your favorite one. I think we all agreed that it was a very good episode. We hope you enjoyed it. And we'd like to give you a little bit of an insight of what we're going to do in episode 6. Episode 6, we're going to touch on some subjects that are a little bit darker, a little bit more difficult to talk about. One of them is going to be banks, the financial institutions, and how they helped or actually did not help with 357, the sex on premises venue, how difficult it was to raise capital, to get machines, to just simply tap on machines so that they could get payment. We're going to cover all of that, and we're also going to touch on the very sad topic of death. There were some deaths at 357. They were very difficult to deal with. It impacted a lot of people, not just the family or friends of the people who died, but the staff and the owners, Ty and Luke. So we're going to touch on those on next episode. Please tune in. If you have any comments, have a look in the show notes. There are ways to get in touch with us. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to get your feedback and possibly even topics that you'd like us to talk about. Anything that evolves around sex on premises, other venues around the world, just reach out, give us the information. We'd love to hear from you. We shall be back in episode 6.